In Golden today, two people are still in the hospital after they were attacked by two pit bull dogs. Police were called after a 12-year-old boy was bitten at a neighbor's home yesterday, and then his grandmother was attacked. Golden police say the grandmother is alive but in critical condition at St. Anthony's. The 12-year-old is at Children's, and we're told he is stable. The dogs were taken to the vet, where one was euthanized due to injuries. The other is being held at an animal shelter. We're expecting to hear from Golden police at 2 this afternoon, and you can watch that live on CBS Colorado.
All right. Welcome back. I'm going to start this stream a lot later than I usually do because I did not plan on going live today. I was going to wait it out. But of course, I got a lot of motivation from a viral story. This is a viral story. Several, I will say dozens, over a dozen articles out already. This video here was uploaded today as well. Now, before I go on, I want you to understand what they said here. This thing is only 32 seconds long. They did a lot in 32 seconds. So let me back it up. And this might seem redundant, but I'm telling you, this is where the dog propaganda does most of its work. It is when they are fast talking you, laying a whole bunch of stuff on you, and then reaching their conclusion where you can't even process anything that they say. So let's back this up.
In Golden today, two people are still in the hospital after they were attacked by two pit bull dogs. Police were called after a 12-year-old boy was bitten at a neighbor's home yesterday, and then his grandmother was attacked.
Now, I don't like the way they started this off by saying two people were attacked by a dog. When you say that, the first thing that pops into your head is usually not an 89-year-old and a 12-year-old. Okay? Now, these are the dog's favorite targets. They target children more than any other demographic. But the second leading demographic is the elderly. So it couldn't resist itself. It was surrounded by an 89-year-old female. Remember, most attack victims are female. An elderly female and a 12-year-old child. This mutant could not resist.
Golden police say the grandmother is alive but in critical condition at St. Anthony's. The 12-year-old is at Children's, and we're told he is stable. The dogs were taken to the vet, where one was euthanized due to injuries. The other is being held at an animal shelter.
Euthanized due to injuries. So euthanized because the poor pooch was in so much pain. They didn't want to say euthanized because it was deadly, dangerous, a threat to society. No. Oh, it's because it was hurt. That's why we euthanized it. This is after the dog tried to euthanize an 89-year-old and a 12-year-old. And it's not fair to put children through traumatic events like this. You think of all the young people, children who survived dog attacks or may have seen them. It's very traumatizing. Now, I want to go on with this story. Again, this took place in Golden, Colorado.
We're expecting to hear from Golden Police at 2 this afternoon, and you can watch that live on CBS Colorado.
Now, I watched that. They didn't say much, bunch of babbling. But these were pit bulls. They were pit bulls.
2 people are still in the hospital after they were attacked by 2 pit bull dogs.
Pit bull dogs. This is the usual narrative. People, I think it's safe to say, those of you who followed my channel for a long time, isn't the vast majority of attacks in general by a pit bull some type of bully breed? And listen, the mixes are the same as pit bulls. I don't care about that, nutters. They are responsible for a large majority of these attacks. It's almost exclusively pit bull attacks. And this is not done to skew or tarnish the image of pit bulls. It is not. It is simply reporting on the truth. Quite often, later, they will show images of the dog. And every time they've done so, it was confirmed that it was a bully breed. Now, let's move on to another article. Okay, Golden, Colorado. Like I said, there are a lot of articles out for you to read. This is one of the first ones that you see from 11 News. They're very brief. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Notice how they say that the grandmother and the child knew the dogs. They knew the dogs. That is as much as they will say. But later on, when the police officers gave their statement, they pointed out that this was a family dog. So here you have an 89-year-old and a 12-year-old pretending that a pit bull is harmless. And it backfired. It backfired. And there's no excuse for this. We all know better. These are not accidents. This is a trait or behavior of the dog's nature. This is what they were bred for. They're doing what they were bred for. In Colorado, while we're talking, Golden is like a suburb of Denver. And as we all know, they just recently lifted their pit bull ban. Notice how after lifting that ban, there's been a huge wave of attacks. Right? What is this? So, why is it showing my damn emails? Get the hell out of here. Lord. Okay, I can't see nothing here. We'll do it like this. Wait a minute. What is this? Pit bull bans. Y'all remember this. Pit bull bans nearly a thing of the past. Sorry about that. I couldn't properly see what I was trying to look at. And you all remember this. Oh, wait a minute. You don't want to see this. Yeah, I'm not going to show that. Sorry about that. But this was like Denver, Colorado. Ever since they lifted that ban, there's been a never-ending wave of attacks. And this is not really being talked about. But this is a pit bull issue. And now a bunch of people are having discussions once again, as they always do, on whether pit bulls are inherently dangerous, whether they should be banned. Iowa had or is having a debate. I believe I saved that here somewhere. Are they more dangerous? Well, of course they are. Of course they are. And the advocates, they know it. And they are in denial about it. Yes, they are more dangerous. They're more dangerous than other breeds because of not only their bite style, but the fact that they have a bad temper. They're less tolerant to other dogs or for other dogs. Now, that is something that they will admit to. I don't know if you've noticed that. They're reluctant to say that pit bulls are more dangerous or more deadly. One thing they will say is that they have less or lower tolerance for other dogs. Let's see if I can pull this up. I got way too much going on here, man. And it's frustrating because I just don't have enough time. My job takes so much out of me, and it's so hard to come here and have the energy to do live streams. But this has to be done. Now, this is the video I was talking about. And I found this years ago. And I'm still infuriated by it. After all this time. This is one of the most malicious reports I've ever seen in my life on pit bulls. If you haven't seen this, it's from WSBT TV. Brace yourself.
More dangerous than other dogs? It's a question many people feel very strongly about one way or the other.
Now, WSBT 22 fact finder Annie Chang set out to find an answer by digging into data. And Annie, you did some number crunching for this story.
I did, Rick. I counted all the dog bite reports in St. Joseph County. 200 bites reported in the first half of this year. Now, you might be surprised to find out which breed reportedly bit the most, but experts say it's not the whole story. Casey Sills misses her smile.
I had a great smile. Everybody loved my smile. And my smile's gone.
It happened in May. Casey was visiting a friend who owns a pit bull lab mix. The dog did not seem aggressive, Casey says. In fact, he was friendly. But then, something snapped.
I was petting him and I said, "Who's a good boy?" And I stood up and he latched onto my face, ripped my bottom lip off. My eye was cut open. There were, I don't know how many stitches. He ripped my eyelid open here.
Casey was rushed into surgery where doctors literally stitched her face back together. While it is healing now, Casey is still constantly in pain. But even more excruciating, she says, it's the emotional damage that hurts the most.
I don't want to wake up in the mornings. Because I know I have to face another day looking like this. Sorry.
Okay, now let me stop there. Now, if being attacked, now you lived, what are you crying about? This with the pit bull lovers, dog advocates, they brag about this. Well, it didn't kill you. When you want to talk about how dangerous dogs are, first thing they want to point to is the number of deaths, as if deaths is the only thing you need to worry about. No, being mutilated. If it'll traumatize an adult, what do you think it does to children? More reason why they should be banned. At the very least, if you want to look like a country concerned about your youth, at the very least, ban bully breeds.
And it throws me right back into that dark place again.
Casey's story is
Well, here's the thing. And this is what I try to stress to pit lovers for years. Why didn't you think like this before you went over there? before you decided to be a pit nutter. You know, that would have been intelligent. That would have been a true show of intelligence. If you told whoever that person was who owned the pit bull, I'm not coming over. Why not? I don't go around pit bulls. See, if you would have thought like us, it wouldn't have happened. Because we can see ourselves going through what you are going through before it happens. We exercise our mind. This government, this nutter propaganda is designed to dumb you down, to make you function like an unintelligent creature. That's really what it's all about. Because you're a lot easier to control at that point. And if I have control over you, you're going to do what I say. You're going to purchase what I tell you to purchase. And I'm going to say that you're a weirdo and an evil person if you don't own a dog. If you don't want to be around a dog, you're an evil, immoral person. And you're going to believe me because I control your mind. So we, the Crusaders, we know better. We understand, we can see clearly that if we get our faces mutilated, we're going to experience what you're experiencing. So we decide to not go around them.
Extreme one. And in fact, animal control officials later decided that Casey had provoked the dog. But we wanted...
Now, y'all hear that? Let me rewind that.
Throws me right back into that dark place again.
Casey's story is an extreme one. And in fact, animal control officials later decided that Casey had provoked the dog.
The animal control people said that the victim provoked the dog. She said she was just petting on it and said, "Who's a good boy?" And as she stood up, it latched onto her face. It's not the first story like that we've heard. We've heard about people standing up and being attacked by pit bulls, sitting down. We heard a story where a baby fell off a chair and was attacked. Y'all remember the other baby who fell out of a window and the pit bulls attacked them. They didn't provoke the dog, but this woman did. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. No, you don't get to play both sides of the fence. Had you been in the same room with this woman while she was rubbing on it, calling it a good boy, you would have applauded her for being a good pit bull lover. You're not allowed to blame her for misconduct after the pit bull attacks. I don't think so.
And in fact, animal control officials later decided that Casey had provoked the dog. But we wanted to know, how often do pit bulls bite, provoked or not?
No. We who? I don't know who you're talking about. That's not what I want to know. That's not something I care about. What are you talking about? See how they do this every time, people. They try to create the narrative for people who are against pit bulls. And they are paid to do this. These illogical arguments that come from these pit bull lovers, y'all notice the laws cater to them even with those pathetic arguments, failed arguments. It is because there are powerful people and a lot of money behind dogs. They flood these shelters with money. They pay off media outlets left and right. That's why this media outlet is running this story to defend pit bulls.
Provoke the dog. But we wanted to know, how often do pit bulls bite, provoked or not?
No. Again, how often is irrelevant. We're talking about how dangerous it is.
We filed a public records request with the St. Joseph County Health Department. These documents list which breeds have bitten the most so far this year. Here's what we found. From January to June of 2015, pit bull type dogs had the highest number of bites by far, more than doubling Shepherds and Shepherd mixes. The second.
People, that's a lie. That is a lie. I don't believe that. Even though pit bulls lead, I don't believe that. I believe these numbers are a bit skewed. Now, Shepherds and Labs do attack often, but it's insane with pit bulls.
Second highest, and 4 times as many bites as Labradors and Lab mixes, which were third on the list. But the veterinary experts we talked to say
this is a veterinary expert. I want to find this lady.
This doesn't mean a thing. Dr. Kathleen Newhoff says the numbers are skewed.
I've had 20 bites or more over my career, none of which were by pit bulls.
She says
Do y'all believe that? Keep listening.
people are less likely to file a report if a family dog like Golden Retriever or Chihuahua bites them. But if a pit bull bites, Newhoff says, they're more likely to report that because the breed has such a bad reputation.
She said that people who are bitten by pit bulls are more likely to report it because the pit bull has a bad reputation. So she's saying that pit nutters who are attacked by pit bulls go to hospital and say that they were attacked by a pit bull because pit bulls have a bad reputation. In other words, suddenly the pit nutter starts to operate against pit bulls. Suddenly now they hate pit bulls. I don't believe that either. No, they're more likely to report when a pit bull bites them because they are more severely injured. You're talking about pit nutters. They don't want to ruin the dog's reputation. They're the least likely to go to the hospital or to want to go to the hospital. Let me put it like that. So when they have to go to the hospital, it's because they have to. So that, again, where are they getting their information from? And why don't they speak clearly and explain why people are more likely to attack when they, or excuse me, to report that a pit bull bit them when they are bitten by a dog? It's because of the severity of the attack.
Doubling Shepherds and Shepherd mixes, the second highest, and 4 times as many bites as Labradors and Lab mixes, which were third on the list. But the veterinary experts we talked to say this doesn't mean a thing. Dr. Kathleen Newhoff says the numbers are skewed.
I've had 20 bites or more over my career, none of which were by pit bulls.
She says people are less likely to file a report if a family dog like Golden Retriever or Chihuahua bites them. But if a pit bull bites, Newhoff says, they're more likely to report that because the breed has such a bad reputation. Several veterinarians insist pit bulls are not naturally aggressive animals. It's their owners who can make them act that way.
We know that upbringing and how we socialize our dogs and how we interact with them has a huge impact on their future behavior.
Okay. So are we supposed to believe that this 89-year-old and this 12-year-old who were just attacked, did they raise the dog that way? In fact, again, where are you getting your information? How'd you find out that the vast majority of pit bulls that attack were actually raised to attack? Where are you getting that data? Where's that database? We cover dog attacks here, people. We don't ever hear about that, and they would love to share information like that. If they found out that a pit bull that attacked someone had a history of fighting, dog fighting, they would report it. But they don't report it. So where are you getting that information from? They're pulling it out of thin air. This is their tactic to make statistics up. Always keep that in mind. And if any of you pit nutters listening, and you know where she's getting this information, share it with us. I can tell you now, it doesn't exist. There's no source anywhere to prove that the majority of pit bulls that attack were actually raised or used as fighting dogs.
Which were by pit bulls.
She says people are less.
And the reason she just said that right there is because she doesn't consider bully breeds pit bulls. She only considers true pit bulls to be pit bulls. Just listen.
Or more over my career, none of which were by pit bulls.
She says people are less likely to file a report if a family dog like Golden Retriever or Chihuahua bites them. But if a pit bull bites, Neuhoff says, they're more...
Man, did y'all notice this? Look at this. And keep this in mind. They tell you never approach a dog, especially kids. Oh, kids, never approach a dog. But what do dogs do when they see you?
File a report if a family dog like Golden Retriever or Chihuahua bites them. But if
a dog right there just walk right up to that cameraman. And that's what dogs do. Without a care in the world, they don't hesitate. They walk right up to you and will often put their nose in your crotch, sniff on you. And we're supposed to view that as the right that a dog has. They can just violate us all they want. But if we approach them, then the dog is free to attack us. And they can say it was in self-defense because you approached them. Boy, you talk about good reasons to hate dogs and their owners.
But if a pit bull bites, Neuhoff says, they're more likely to report that because the breed has such a bad reputation. Several veterinarians insist pit bulls are not naturally aggressive animals.
Okay, several veterinarians insist that they're not naturally aggressive.
It's their owners who can make them act that way.
We know that upbringing and how we socialize our dogs and how we interact with them has a huge impact on their future behavior.
They are not, in general, aggressive towards people. If they've been handled properly, they've been correctly socialized, they do very, very well.
Wait a minute, what? What are they even arguing? They're arguing the frequency of the attacks, not the severity. Keep that in mind. They always deal with the frequency, not the severity. Let's give them that. They say that pit bulls, they don't bite any more often than any other dogs. Let's give them that. It doesn't matter. I'm not concerned about a nip, something that doesn't even break the skin. And why are you even talking about that? What makes you think? Why are you insulting me by putting that argument on me? We're talking about the severity of the attack. And who is she to speak for all pit bulls? And again, what about the pit bulls that do attack? If she's talking about if they're raised properly, they'll do very well. How do you know that all of the pit bulls that attack people was not raised properly? There are plenty of people out here who have witnesses, not just themselves, but other witnesses who say, yeah, we raised it from a puppy. We always raised it with love. Nobody ever hit it. Nobody ever abused it. And it's still attacked. We have testimony. We have people who said that. Several people have said that after these attacks. So are you calling all of those people liars? Why should we believe you and call every one of these people liars? So many people said that we've lost count. So this doctor, whatever her name was, she sounds incompetent.
Behavior.
They are not, in general, aggressive towards people. If they've been handled properly, they've been correctly socialized, they do very, very well.
And
no one knows that better than Bill Sykes, a local pit bull advocate who's rescued dozens of them over the years. Bill says this dog, Blue, was likely used for dogfighting in the past.
See how they're trying to push the narrative that the pit bulls that attack were once used for dogfighting? That these are pit bulls or dogs that have been abused somehow? That's what they're attributing it to. People, that is a wild guess. Because that's never proven. It is not. Okay, people, how many times have y'all heard that the police were going to conduct an investigation after an attack? They say that all the time. Notice how they never come back after that investigation and say, hey, we found out that the dog that attacked these people was actually a fighting dog in the past. It would be different if after every investigation they came back and said, hey, such and such. They don't ever come back and say nothing. That's never found anywhere. It's never publicized anywhere. Where are you getting that from? That is a wild guess. And they expect you to accept a wild guess pulled out of thin air. They want you to accept it as fact.
Was likely used for dogfighting in the past, but now he's the furthest thing from violent.
They act like there's millions of people on the underground scene fighting pit bulls. That's a lie too. If pit bulls are responsible for 65% of 800,000 people every year, what does that sound like? What does that sound like? There's no way that large of a population of people are raising dogs to fight, pit bulls to fight. In fact, when we see pit bulls, they're usually owned by females. Quite often middle-aged, older females. And those are the usual victims. So we're just supposed to believe you that they were once bred or raised to fight or have fought in their past. What is this?
These are very loyal, gentle dogs.
Very loyal, gentle dogs that lead by far in attacks, and I'm saying attacks, and definitely maimings. It's overwhelming. When someone is maimed, people, it's almost 100% a bully breed responsible. 100%. Him saying that these are great dogs doesn't change that. See, they want to be able to say things regardless of the statistics, and want you to believe them and ignore the actual statistics and testimonies.
Very loyal, gentle dogs, and it's the irresponsible persons.
Again, assuming that all dogs that attack were raised by irresponsible. How did you find that out? How did you discover that? That's all I'm asking. I hear a lot of these pit nutters saying that. I don't see any documents. Why don't they ever show stats? Show information in general and make your own stats. Something. You literally have no way of finding that out. So stop it. That's when you know a person is desperate. When they have to resort to making things up and saying things that they cannot substantiate with evidence.
That make them into what they're commonly known as a fighter, as vicious.
No, they were bred to be that way. They're always talking about, oh, that's what it's known as if it was just some reputation that, you know, was attached to them for no reason. Why do you think they are primarily the dogs chosen for fighting? They don't want a German Shepherd. They don't want a lab. When they want dog fighting, they pick pit bulls. It's not because of how the pit bull looks. They choose them because that's what they were bred for. They choose them because they fight to the death when they fight. These are facts. It's not a mythological reputation. Well, this is scary. And again, people, bans are being lifted based on talk like this.
They're commonly known as a fighter, as vicious.
Experts say the question, which dogs bite, is the wrong one. The question should be, are you a responsible dog owner?
See, I always shifting it to the owner. Or let's just assume that every single dog, pit bull that attacks had a horrible owner. That's a lie. Not only can that's a lie.
And should be,
Now, did you hear that? Let me rewind that.
As a fighter, as vicious.
Experts say the question, which dogs bite, is the wrong one.
Which dogs bite is the wrong one.
Which dogs bite is the wrong one.
Commonly known as a fighter, as vicious.
Experts say the question, which dogs bite, is the wrong one. The question should be, are you a
No, that's not what the question should be. Which dogs are the most dangerous? Which ones are the most aggressive? That is bully breeds.
Are you a responsible dog owner?
More emphasis should be placed on responsible pet ownership, socializing your dog, making sure they get appropriate.
So they're assuming that the pit bulls that attack haven't been socialized. Again, where are you getting that information? We research dog attacks, people. Dog lovers, they act like they have access to some type of special hidden information or database on dog attack. They don't. They're making all of this up.
Appropriate care, they're treated humanely.
Even Casey, whose life was turned upside down by the attack, says she doesn't blame the dog or the breed.
A dog's only as good as its owner. A child is only as good as its parents.
See, this is the dangerous part of it. They not only say, hey, it's always the dog, how it was raised. It was always the human behind the dog, raising the dog. Again, how do you explain stray dog attacks on people? Dogs were not raised by anyone. What's your explanation for those? And your explanation for the attacks by pit bulls on elderly women. A lot of elderly women are being attacked. You want me to just believe, based on your word, that these elderly women, 90-year-old women, were training the dog to attack? As somebody pointed out in the comment section, yeah. I'm sure and sarcastically, I'm sure the owner taught the dog to clamp down, shake, to not stop until the victim is dead. People don't even know how to train a dog to attack the way pit bulls attack. And that is a big reason why they are so dangerous, because of how they attack. So if you're going to say that people are the blame, explain to us how people train these things to attack the way that they do. They act like an attack is all the same. An attack is an attack. No. If these things have a different attack style, you have to explain that. If you're saying that the people trained them to be that way, because quite often, if they didn't attack the way that they attack, it wouldn't have made the news. There may not have even been a hospital report. Now, they're not done. Listen.
Life was turned upside down by the attack. Says she doesn't blame the dog or the breed.
A dog's only as good as its owner. A child is only as good as its parents.
And there's another problem with this data too. Veterinarians say it's impossible to identify a true pit bull just by looking at it.
There you go. Like clockwork. They want to play on words. I saw a pit bull victim awareness leave a comment. Said if it looks like a pit bull, it's a pit bull. Worthless Mutts chimed in. Make sure y'all subscribe to these two channels. Said yes they are. Driving can be dangerous because you can be killed. Using power tools are dangerous because you can be killed or hurt. Parachuting can be dangerous because parachuting, it's funny how pit bulls have killed so many times, and pit nutters will be ignorant and say pit bulls are not dangerous. Now, saying that driving can be dangerous, that's putting it lightly. A lot of things can be dangerous. A lot of things are dangerous. You can't say that something is dangerous and not dangerous at the same time. If you got so many attacks out here that happen on a daily basis, and pit bulls lead the way by far in maiming, hospital visits, reconstructive surgery, and deaths, you're still saying that they're not dangerous? And as you heard them, once again, with the specifics of the breed,
Veterinarians say it's impossible to identify a true pit bull just by looking at it.
Nobody cares. Nobody asked. Nobody asked. Only pit nutters get into that. Or it's not really technically a pit bull. Even though it's a bully breed, they want to ignore the fact that it's a bully breed. This is desperation. 100% desperation. And it looks sad. It's such a horrible argument. It looks sad. And it only works as far as lifting bans. It works because these people are so heavily funded.
According to a study, experts misidentified 75% of dogs they thought were pit bulls, but were actually other mixes.
And she admits that the other dogs were pit bull mixes. That's like criminal. This level of lying is criminal. If it's a mix, it's a pit bull. In our book, same blocky head, mouth, temperament, bite style, relentlessness, gameness. These pit nutters, they know full well that we are not concerned about that type of nonsense. Oh, it's technically, it has longer fur. The jaw is not wide enough. Stop it. But obviously, this works on a lot of people. A lot of people. And a lot of people call them out. Right? A lot of crusaders in here giving these people the business. And this was months ago. Crazy. It's criminal how this information is out about how pit bulls, how dangerous they are. You're talking about a dog, the only dog that was bred to take down bulls. They were bred to take down bulls, not trained, bred. That's exactly why they have these power contests, these strength contests.
Before we start.
Sorry about that. Where they have pit bulls pulling cars and stuff. Huh? Notice how they flaunt how dangerous they are. They flaunt it. They brag about how dangerous they are. These pit nutters know full well that pit bulls are more dangerous. But they just lie. Right? Why do they do this? These pit nutters sit back like, oh, wow, look at that power. They gawk over how dangerous, more dangerous these things are than other dogs. But when it's time to decide whether or not they should be banned, oh, these dogs are no different than any other type of dogs. It's not the breed, even though they're always focusing on the breed, people. That's why they use pit bulls for these types. It's not just dog fighting that they prefer pit bulls, use pit bulls for. Power, competition, and all that. Exclusively bully breeds. Why? Because they're more dangerous. So these pit nutters are always focusing on the breed until it's time to talk about banning them. Suddenly, all of a sudden, it's no different than any other dog, and they cannot identify what a pit bull is. Nobody knows what a pit bull is. What are you talking about? They start playing dumb. So this is scary. We're truly dealing with lunatics. Today I looked up the definition of insanity. Well, I looked up the definition, the behavior, and the response they gave me was, hey, this is insanity. See if I can pull it up here. And of course, insanity is when you're doing the same thing over and over and you expect a different result. Isn't that right? Look that up. What is insanity? It's when you're doing something over and over, expecting a different result. Well, don't we see pit bull attacks everywhere? Don't we hear the stories that pit bull lovers share all the time? How it's never shown aggression. We hear stories like that all the time. After dog attacks, pit bull attacks. That's a mistake. And that happens over and over and over and over. And every time it happens, they say, oh, you just got to raise them right. Just got to raise them right. And if it attacks, well, you trained it to attack. Yeah, exactly. It's a culture of playing dumb, of ignoring the truth, twisting the truth. I have so many stories here. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Now, what is this? Now, I didn't even mean to do this. This was in Colorado, where they're bragging about removing pit bull bans based on the rhetoric that you've heard here. And now people are getting maimed, having their face ripped apart. Have y'all been keeping up with Jacqueline Durand? Have y'all seen her lately? If you go to her Instagram and scroll down, you're going to see she's going through some new surgery. And she is posting a lot of photos of her dog. One thing she is doing is making sure to post lots of photos of her dog. And I believe some people have contacted her. That's what I believe. And I believe I suspect that she may have been rewarded for cranking up her love for dogs. After the attack, she went on this spree of not showing the dog. It was just her. And then out of nowhere, here comes all these photos of her with the dog. Now, I don't know what they're doing to her face during the surgery. It looks kind of complicated. But people, I want y'all to notice something. Before the attack, she was not posting as many images of her dog. Did y'all notice that? After the attack, she pledged a stronger allegiance with her dog. Is that insanity? Is that insanity or not? Now, another question. Why can't this serve as a lesson? And say, hey, I don't want this to happen to me. So let me avoid pit bulls. Let me avoid dogs. Isn't that intelligent? If you agree that's intelligent, then what would you call this? Not only before she was attacked, she heard about dog attack stories. And then after the attack, she's still surrounding herself with large dogs. You decide for yourself. Is that insanity or not? I don't know how many people know, but she has a YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel. What was that? This right here.
Good morning.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. So it's only on her Instagram where she has these videos. Or she might have them on shorts on YouTube. Oh.
Hi, guys.
Okay. That lady we listened to right before this one, where she said it, sometimes she doesn't want to wake up. She didn't look nearly as bad as Jacqueline Durand. Notice how both of them stayed loyal to dogs. Both of them females. Crazy, isn't it? Insanity or not. There are a lot of apologists out here
saying that all pit bulls are dog
for these wild mutants. This guy is a real piece of work right here.
Aggressive would do injustice for the breed. Due to the American Pit Bull Terrier's fighting history, it is easy to say they are aggressive naturally towards other dogs because of their fighting past.
No, it's not because of their fighting past. It's because of how they were bred. It wasn't just the pit bull's decision. They were bred to do exactly that.
But countless other breeds were bred to hunt and kill.
Stop it. Stop. Again, look at the numbers. I don't want to hear nothing about other breeds.
Retrievers were bred to retrieve dead birds.
Dead birds. Other dogs will retrieve dead birds too. And why just dead birds? So labs, retrievers are retrievers of dead birds and dead birds only? What's he talking about? Don't compare that with a pit bull. Something bred and actually did take down bulls.
Smaller terriers were bred to kill rats. Scent hounds were bred to track down animals and sometimes kill. Greyhounds chased and killed small prey, and curs were utilized to hunt large animals, and the list goes on.
And in the hospitals where people are maimed, it's well over 90% pit bulls are responsible. So what's your point? All that babbling don't change the facts. People in the hospital over, 7-8 days? 100% those victims attacked by a pit bull. And really, people, if you get attacked bad enough to have to go to the hospital, remember, these are dog lovers going to the hospital. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. So when they go to hospital, it's because they have to. They're badly injured. Most of them were dealing with a bully breed. Just ER visits, most of them bully breeds. Deaths, most of them bully breeds. 6% of the dog population. All this babbling about what other dogs were bred for is irrelevant. In fact, that's only making pit bulls look worse. For you to sit there and say that other breeds were bred to attack small animals too, stop it. This guy.
So what makes a pit bull animal aggressive? In the early years, pit bulls were known for bull baiting, and when dog fighting was legal, breeders would specifically breed pit bulls to have a fighting and aggressive trait. So
now, okay, he admits that people used to breed them for fighting. So what are you going on about? You've discredited the pro pit bull propaganda.
So that dogs will fight.
Wait a minute.
Breeders would specifically breed pit bulls to have a fighting and aggressive trait so that dogs will fight. It's simple. It's easy to assume that because they were fighting against other dogs, pit bulls must be genetically predisposed to be aggressive towards dogs. This can be true, but only to a certain extent.
How can that be true to a certain extent? They're either bred for fighting, their tolerance was bred out of them, or not. They're either bred to be vicious and aggressive or not. What do you mean true to a certain extent? Let's let them finish.
The United Kennel Club states, although some level of dog aggression is characteristic of this breed, handlers will be expected to comply with the UKC policy regarding dog temperament at UKC events.
What? Wait a minute. What? Wait.
We also have to keep in mind that any breed of dog can have aggression towards the same sex.
What? I mean, verbal gymnastics right here. Verbal gymnastics. Let's rewind that.
Can be true, but only to a certain extent. The United Kennel Club states, although some level of dog aggression is characteristic of this breed, handlers will be expected to comply with the UKC policy regarding dog temperament at UKC events.
Handlers will be expected to control their dogs. What does that have to do with the breed making it more aggressive? What does that have to do with the fact that it's a pit bull being more aggressive? He simply points out, well, that can be true to an extent because dog owners are expected to control them. What? Am I the only one lost here? That lost me. And I watched this a few times before I played it just now. I'm still lost. I don't know what he's trying to say.
Aggression is characteristic of this breed. Handlers will be expected to comply with the UKC policy regarding dog temperament at UKC events.
I'm sorry. That is true pit nutter babble.
Also have to keep in mind that any breed of dog can have aggression towards the same sex and can often not tolerate.
Why does he keep talking about other dogs? Keep talking about the similarity between pit bulls and other dogs. Yeah, and they both got two eyes too. Pit bulls got tails just like, but actually all other dogs have 4 legs too. What's your point? We're talking about aggression, temperament. Statistics prove that. All this babbling. I mean, if you're so positive that they're no different than other dogs, then just show me the numbers. You don't have to say nothing. Say, hey, look at this. Pit bulls responsible for 0.2% of dog attacks. Relax. They're no more dangerous than any other dog. And the people who are bitten, it's very minimal. Show the facts. You won't have to do all this babbling. They do all this babbling because they're lying.
Rate them from the jump.
What? Does your pit bull show any signs of aggression?
The gameness of the real American Pit Bull Terrier cannot be faked, and it's something that they are born with. They put their mind to something and they do it. That's what.
Wait a minute.
What makes them great dogs for sports like weight pulling. They are very strong, athletic animals.
They set their mind on something and they do it. That was his way of saying that they will keep attacking you until you're dead. And he's pushing this as a positive trait. Then brags about how strong they are and admits that people focus on the breed when they have these sporting events, where they're basically gawking over how much more dangerous pit bulls are than other dogs. If you're going to point out how muscular and so-called game they are, bro, you are admitting that they are more dangerous. What are you talking about?
That's what makes them great dogs for sports like weight pulling. They are very strong, athletic animals.
Which makes them what? More dangerous, dude. This is the point where you tell your client to be quiet. Real poor representative of pit bulls here, pit bull nutters. Oh, I forgot. You don't have any real respectable pit bull advocates. They don't exist anywhere. They all spew this brainless, nonsensical babble.
To say that a pit bull cannot be socialized is false, and to say that these dogs can snap on anything at any time is also false.
Who says they can't be socialized? I don't know or care if they can or can't. The only thing I care about is the fact that they are currently attacking more people and definitely killing and maiming far more people than any other dog. Now, you can go on about your own personal conversation going on in your head if you want to. But I don't care nothing about whether or not these mutants can be socialized with other dogs. But listen to this.
Can snap on anything at any time is also false. But let's just say...
No, yes, they can. Now, did y'all hear that? What I tell y'all, how much these people lie? Listen to this again.
Time is also false.
Wait, whoa. Let me back up.
To say that a pit bull cannot be socialized is false. And to say that these dogs can snap on anything at any time is also false.
What do you mean that's false? Yes, they can snap on anyone at any time. Who are you to say that any pit bull can't snap on anybody? You understand what I'm saying? The nerve of these people to say that a pit bull can snap on anyone at any time is false. No, it's not false, dude. The only way it can't is if it's dead. If you're talking about a dead pit bull, okay, I agree with you. It's false to say that a dead pit bull can snap on anyone at any time. As long as these mutants are alive, they can attack someone. What are you talking about? See what I mean? These verbal gymnastics these people do.
Time is also false. But let's just say pit bulls are less tolerant of putting up with another dog's BS or bad behavior.
He said they're less tolerant with putting up with another dog's BS or bad behavior. In other words, so when pit bulls attack other dogs, it's because those other dogs were engaged in BS behavior. And the bully breed was simply trying to teach them how to behave. This is their arguments. And they've given this guy all kind of love. He got 126,000 subscribers. Now it looks like he deletes a lot of comments. Only got 41 comments. 7,000, almost 7,700 views. He's failing left and right.
Time is also false. But let's just say pit bulls are less tolerant of putting up with another dog's BS or bad behavior.
Now let's stop that. He's basically saying they're more dog aggressive. That pit bulls have less tolerance for other dogs. We've heard a lot of pro dog people say that. They will admit at least that much. But my question is, if that's true, then aren't you still admitting that they are more dangerous? If they're more likely than other dogs to attack other dogs, that makes them more aggressive, does it not? And if it's quick to attack other dogs, that means they're quick to attack kids and babies. And that's exactly why they do it. Making them more dangerous. When I read reports, y'all know, y'all my witness. When I go over reports of deaths, it's like almost 100% bully breeds. When it's a death on an infant, it's almost always a bully breed. It is so often. It's unbelievable. And it's in part because of what he just admitted to.
Is false, and to say that these dogs
that they are more aggressive
is also false. But let's just say pit bulls are less tolerant of putting up with another dog's BS or bad behavior.
Wow. Do you know how dumb you have to be to say something like that? This guy sounds like a 12-year-old or something. That was the best you could come up with, is to assume that when these things attack other dogs, it's because the other dogs were BSing around and had bad behavior. Wow.
Since dogfighting was banned, it is undesirable for pit bulls to have a fighting trait. Instead, they are commonly bred as catch dogs for semi-wild cattle and hogs to hunt, drive.
Well, look at how doofus and brain damaged this mutant looks. My goodness. This is not just an overgrown rat. These are killing mutants. True mutants. Every bit of their behavior is mutant behavior.
It is undesirable for pit bulls to have a fighting trait. Instead, they are commonly bred as catch dogs for semi-wild cattle and hogs to hunt, drive livestock, compete in weight pulling, and as a family companion.
He said they're bred to be No, they're not. And they're not bred for any of those other things. They've already been bred for something. Ain't nobody rebreeding them for other things. They're simply not used for fighting as often as they used to be. And now people have gotten dumb enough to keep them inside their home as a family dog. Is that what you were trying to say? Basically?
Or bad behavior. Since dogfighting was banned, it is undesirable for pit bulls to have a fighting trait.
No, y'all adopt these. Y'all acquire pit bulls because they have fighting traits. Stop with this. Bunch of liars. That's what they love so much about these things, is because they are so aggressive. They love to see other people scared. This is nothing but nutter babble, a bunch of lies.
Instead, they are commonly bred as catch dogs for semi-wild cattle and hogs to hunt.
You can clearly see this thing has been bred to kill, to fight. You can tell by its behavior. This thing absolutely zeroed in on a basketball, ready to attack. You want evidence that these things were bred to fight? Here it is. Remember what that other expert said? That when they step out the front door, they're looking for something to target, looking for something to zone in on, to fixate on. Here's an example. Why do they do that? They do that because they were bred to fight.
To hunt, drive livestock, compete in weight pulling, and as a family companion. All in all, the real American Pit Bull Terrier can be around other dogs, grow up and raise with other dogs, but the naturally dog aggressive trait still exists.
The natural dog aggressive trait still exists.
That was a huge part of their history.
No. You mean of how they were bred. He keeps going on, oh, it's a part of history. It's how they were bred. And he just admits that they're more aggressive towards other dogs. Doesn't that make them more aggressive? They say that dogs will often view kids and babies the same way they view other dogs. I've read that in many sources. And that explains why they're almost always responsible for attacks on kids, maimings, attacks on babies. Sound like a more dangerous breed to me.
All in all, the real American Pit Bull Terrier can be around other dogs, grow up and raise with other dogs, but the naturally dog-aggressive traits still exist, as that was a huge part of their history. Some are naturally dog-aggressive and some are not. It really.
Then he admits that some of them are naturally dog-aggressive. What?
Depends on how you bring up the dog in your yard. If you're bringing up your dog to start hunting and killing livestock in your yard, expect to have some aggression towards other animals. It's natural. You're bringing out the drive in the dog and the game.
So as always, they want to assume that the pit bulls that attack people were trained by some human somewhere. Some evil human taught it to attack, taught it to maul. Man, oh man, these people, this is scary. Scary world we're living in. That 89-year-old and that 12-year-old who were just attacked. I mean, I think just a few hours ago, did not train that dog to fight or kill. I'd say most of the people who are attacked didn't train those dogs to fight and kill. And in general, the people who train pit bulls to fight and kill, in general, those people keep those pit bulls. They keep them forever. Those are not really the ones taking those pit bulls into shelters. The very few number of pit bull owners that keep them throughout their life are these young males who beat these things mercilessly. They're more tolerant. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Next on In Focus.
The dog came running out of the house across the street, out the front door, ran across the street, and bit her on her shoulder twice.
Stephanie Weiser was walking her golden retriever Daisy on North 7th Street in Columbus.
Oh, shut up. And the pit bull came out and attacked her worthless mutt. Look at this.
The dog was loose at the time. It attacked the children while they were strapped in their car seats.
Listen to this.
In June, a mother and her 2 children were attacked by a 66-pound pit bull terrier. The dog was loose at the time. It attacked the children while they were strapped in their car seats.
Children strapped in their car seats. So this was another unprovoked attack, as always. You remember Ilana Reisner, who said, unless a dog is sick, then there's always a reason when it attacks. Something always provokes them. The only time they attack unprovoked is when the dog is sick. You remember she said that? Ilana Reisner. How does she explain this?
Children while they were strapped in their car seats. Pit bull advocates dismiss the notion that the dogs are inherently dangerous. So we ask them, is it the dog or the owner?
Why would you ask pit bull lovers that question? Why don't you ask people who hate pit bulls? They never do that. They always ask pit nutters. Which lets you know it's a media outlet, a pro-dog media outlet.
The negative things we hear about in the media are almost always the irresponsible dog owners, who they don't leash their dogs, they don't neuter their dogs. The bulk of
Who don't leash them or neuter them. How does she know that? See his dog's eye? Did y'all see this exchange right here? I'm going to cut her off for a minute. You see what those dogs are doing? They're using violence to establish an alpha dominance. You see that? This mutt got a injured eye from fighting. See? All they do is try to dominate. That's all they do. Truly evil creatures. But listen to this lunatic.
their dogs, they don't neuter their dogs. The bulk of dog bites are unneutered male dogs. And often...
What? Oh, male dogs that haven't had their testicles chopped off. And you're so humane. But again, where are you getting that from? I haven't run across that information. Where's she getting this information about that are usually unleashed? Some have attacked while they were on the leash. And if they're off leash, and you admit that if they're off leash, that's the cause of the attack, oh, everything should be okay if they're off leash because they're friendly, right? They're not dangerous, right? Like, what are you trying to argue? You also admitting that is if they're off leash, that they're going to attack someone? Well, you admitting that they're more aggressive. They fumble the ball every time. You understand what I'm saying?
The negative things we hear about in the media are almost always the irresponsible dog owners who they don't leash their dogs. They don't leash their dogs. That is an admission of a dog's aggression. Because she's also saying that if it's off leash, well, it's going to attack someone. She's not talking about training right now. She's just talking about the dog having freedom. Wow. They don't neuter their dogs. The bulk of dog bites are unneutered male dogs.
Yeah, and there's no way to find this out. She don't know what she's talking about. Whether it's been neutered or not is never reported.
And often they're never socialized. So if a dog...
How do you know they're never socialized? You see what I mean? Their whole argument is it depends on making things up and getting the public to simply accept something that they made up. There's no way to find that out.
And often they're never socialized.
How do you know? How'd you find that out? How'd you find that out? Where? You're lying. You're making that up. Again, all dogs are socialized. They all grow up around people. In this country, you're talking about America. What are you talking about? You know how long it would prove or take to prove that one dog was never socialized? You'd have to know that dog's entire history throughout its lifetime. Pathological liars, man.
If a dog is not socialized when they're young, if they don't have good positive experiences, those...
Good positive experiences? Like what? What's a positive experience for a dog? That it can be in the same room with a child and not rip the child's throat out? That's a positive. What is she talking about? Where's this special database they're getting this from? Suddenly, she's got magical powers. And she knows that all the dogs that have attacked people were not socialized. And that's crazy, seeing that these mutants usually attack people that they live with in the same home as them.
They usually attack people that they've been around their whole life. How do you explain that? You know, when they say that they attack because they haven't been socialized, do y'all know they're automatically assuming that these things usually attack strangers who don't live inside the house? You have to also say that. That's basically what you're saying. Oh, these attacks are because these pit bulls have not been properly socialized. So you're assuming that they usually attack strangers, and that's a lie. That's a lie.
So if a dog is not socialized when they're young, if they don't have good positive experiences, those things all factor into the behavior of that dog.
Okay. Really? Okay. All right, this is the best they got, people.
All factor into the behavior of that dog.
Lori Yost runs a pit bull rescue. She says anti-pit bull groups compile their statistics from news reports. She and her colleagues also point out that because there are so many mixed breed dogs considered...
Wait a minute, so what? We get our information from news reports. And your point? Where are you getting yours from?
Also point out that because there are so many mixed breed dogs considered pit bulls, the number of biting incidents is disproportionate to attacks involving other dogs.
Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that?
She and her colleagues also point out that because there are so many mixed breed dogs considered pit bulls, the number of biting incidents is disproportionate to attacks involving other dogs.
I think it's all kind of myth related. People read stuff and they just believe that it's true until you've actually gone out and experienced and worked with someone.
So what are they saying? Are they saying that many of the pit bulls that they say are pit bulls are not really true pit bulls, that there's some other bully breed? What difference? It makes no difference. It does not skew any type of information or nothing like that. If the majority are bully breeds, case closed. I don't want to see they get into that goofy, irrelevant technicality. Oh, it's not really a pit bull. Shut up. Always trying to make and give some flimsy argument to you.
Like a rescue like ours that's very committed to their dogs.
Wait, what?
It's all kind of myth related. People read stuff and they just believe that it's true until you've actually gone out and experienced and worked with someone like a rescue like ours that's very committed to their...
Wait a minute, woman. Did y'all hear this woman?
This is disproportionate.
This verbal backflip she just did.
Other dogs.
I think it's all kind of myth related. People read stuff and they just believe that it's true.
So people read and they say, oh, pit bull attacked these people. And she's saying that's not true because it's some other bully breed. It's not technically a pit bull. Okay? Argument fail. That's fail. That does not work. We don't care. Pit bull, bully breed, all the same. Now, what else did she say?
Until you've actually gone out and experienced and worked with someone like...
What? So now she's talking about how wonderful pit bulls are. And you will find out if you went out. What does that have to do with most people being attacked by pit bulls? What does your stupid experience with a few pit bulls, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. Is that supposed to tell us that you discovered that these people who said they were attacked by pit bulls were actually not attacked by pit bulls? What in the world is she talking about?
A rescue like ours that's very committed to their dogs. I just really think it's unfair.
Oh my God. Well, this is true nutter babble. And it just makes no sense at all.
Pit bulls, their advocates say, are loyal, smart, gentle, and easy to train.
Really? So why on earth are they responsible for the majority of deaths? Why are they responsible for the most dog attacks, period? You talk about emergency care visits, ER visits, it's mostly pit bulls. But I'm supposed to take your word that they're loving and loyal. This looks erotic almost. Why is he up in that dog's face like that, acting like it's his lover? That's how you behave with a girlfriend. Ugh. These are the people who win the discussions about pit bull bans.
Larger dog who's going to be strong. You have to set boundaries.
Listen to what he says.
I think it's unfair.
Pit bulls, their advocates say, are loyal, smart, gentle, and easy to train.
You're dealing with a larger dog.
Easy to train. It's well known pit bulls are the hardest to train because you have to deal with their natural aggressive tendencies. That you have to be firm and be the alpha with it. And he goes on to actually admit that. Listen.
Dog who's going to be strong. You have to set boundaries and you have to give them a set schedule and let them know that you are in charge of them.
Let the dog know that you are in charge. In other words, be more aggressive with it than you would other dogs. So you're admitting that they're harder to train. That you got to be this big tough guy that won't take no mess from no pit bull. Make sure it do what you tell it to do and bully and be aggressive with it. That's all he's saying. So you contradicted yourself. They are harder to train. What are you talking about?
You have to set boundaries and you have to give them a set schedule and let them know that you are in charge of them.
Still, at least some of our readers aren't buying it, especially in response to the incident on Lafayette Street.
Look at what some of the people said. They won't interview these people. Somebody said their genetic trait for unpredictable explosive aggression can never be trained out of these dogs. Pit bulls are dangerous. Sick of children getting mauled and killed. BSL is needed nationwide. Hashtag won't back down. Because pit bulls don't back down. Other breeds are far more likely to back down. Other breeds far more likely to not clamp down and shake. But you see, they don't give people who leave comments like this, they don't interview them. Y'all ever notice that? They never interview people who say stuff like this in person. The most they'll do is get a screenshot of their comment.
They use words like aggressive, dangerous.
And they said, they use words like aggressive, dangerous.
Bred to fight. And there are anti-pit bull groups and websites, such as dogsbite.org, that claim that from 2005 through 2016, pit bulls contributed to 65% of all dog bite deaths. 5-year-old Charlie and 2-year-old Ruby Warfel suffered serious facial injuries along with nerve and muscle damage. Their mother Margot received puncture wounds on her fingers, arms, and neck as she tried to pull the dog off the children. The owner has since been charged, and the dog, which had bitten another child 4 years earlier, was euthanized. Brendan Brophy, a veterinarian with West Lancaster Animal Hospital, says the problem with any aggressive dog, whether a pit bull or another breed, is often a lack of socialization.
We see dogs that that attack people because they are not socialized properly, so they have a lot of fear, and these bites are related to fear, not necessarily aggression.
What? Where did you get that from, little guy? Where'd you get that from? Here we go with this fear rhetoric again. Where are you getting that from? These things will run across the street. I mean, just picture in your mind that dog that ran down the street, ran around two adults to attack a child. He's saying that was fear. The dog, look at how often pit bulls run down the victim first.
Remember that video I showed the other, and this is with all dogs. Dogs ran across the street. Heard about that story where the guy opened his door, it darted out the van. Well, it darted out the van and ran across the street somewhere to attack a child. Y'all have heard about these pit bulls that got loose, saw some kids playing in the yard, ran over and attacked them. He's saying they do all these attacks like that because they're scared of them. This is a display of fear. First of all, don't nobody believe that. Second of all, where are you getting that information from? So listen, this is scary stuff. You can't even trust professionals.
We see dogs that that attack people because they are not socialized properly.
And how do you find that out, dude? They never say that in the reports. That's never even discovered. Don't nobody do no history check on seeing if it was socialized or not. Where you getting that from? This is crazy, man. No, you can't just make stuff up. No, people are not going to put up with that.
So they have a lot of fear, and these bites are related to fear, not necessarily aggression.
Wow, that's one of the most pathetic excuses I ever heard, man. That's ridiculous. Wow, that's infuriating. It really is. Get out of here, man.
Daisy was patched up after the attack and is no worse for wear, and her owner does not blame the breed.
I have no problem with the pit bull breed. It was more the owner, because the owner came out and said it was the second time that week that the dog ran out of the house and attacked another dog.
We are not going to settle the debate today over whether pit bulls are an inherently dangerous breed, but here is something that is indisputable, about which pit bull advocates and detractors can agree. The owner of a pit bull, or any other dog for that matter, is ultimately responsible and accountable for its behavior. You can't expect a dog.
Wait a minute, what?
To understand the consequences of irresponsibility.
Oh my God. These people just don't stop.
Fear, not necessarily aggression.
Daisy was patched up after the attack and is no worse for wear.
An attack is aggression. What? Does that make sense? You can't say that an attack is not aggressive. That it's not a display of aggression. Yes, it is. I mean, even if that were true, even if what he's saying was true, it still means the dog turned aggressive out of fear. I don't care what feeling or emotion emerged before the attack. The only thing I'm concerned about is when it became aggressive. Does that make sense? This really has to stop.
Daisy was patched up after the attack and is no worse for wear, and her owner does not blame the breed.
I have no problem with the pit bull breed. It was more the owner, because the owner came out and said it was the second time that week that the dog ran out of the house and attacked another dog.
That makes sense to anybody. She don't have a problem with the breed, just the owner, because the owner came out and told her that it attacked somebody else earlier. What? What did you say? Planet Zoink. But these zoinked out brainless people, not gonna bother me. Not today. Why is it that they never make sense? That made no sense, what she said. No, you do have a problem with the breed. Stop lying. Put it like that. Stop lying. And you especially do now, after that attack. So these people, you can't depend on them. You can't trust them. They'll bend over backwards to take up for pit bulls. And they never make sense. They never make a solid argument, ever. So those over there in Iowa, y'all remember I talked about this. Here it is right here. They're having some kind of debate in Iowa. This surfaced today. Are pit bulls inherently harmful? Iowa debates. And it's a bunch of babble. Babble. Look how long it is. But towards the end, they say, single out problematic dogs, problematic house owners, not breeds, advocates say. And these big corporations, they support the advocates. What is this? Guidelines, ordinance, relatively banning selective blah, blah, blah. While breed-specific laws may look good on the surface, it is not a reliable or effective solution for dog bite prevention. There it is. That's from the AVMA, Veterinary Medical Affiliation. Now, of course, they're going to say this. This is what they say. But again, keep in mind, we're not talking about frequency of dog bites. And look, pit bulls, from my research, I report on dog attacks. Based on the stories I've gone over, yeah, they do bite more often. Yeah, they do. There's no other information to draw a conclusion from. Most of the people who go to the hospital and report what dog attacked them, they say a pit bull. The people who need to go to the ER, they claim that other dogs bite more often. That's what they claim. But because pit bulls are more dangerous, pit bulls send more people to the hospital than any other breed. Case closed. None of this babble that y'all went over will change that. This is a simple open and shut case. It's undeniable that they send far more people to the hospital, and they only 6% of the dog population. The statistics prove that they are the most aggressive. Case closed. So over there in Iowa, all you representatives, whatever you are, y'all can do all the babbling you want. We know what the truth is. Yeah, they suggest cities undertake non-breed specific guidelines. The fact is, when you ban bully breeds, no Rottweilers, no pit bull mixes, no pit bulls, no bully breeds at all, when you ban them, maimings almost disappear. Deaths are reduced dramatically. But they will continue to lie and get support. We'll see how long they're able to do this and stay relevant in the world. But their existence, the Kennel Club, the Veterinary Medical Association or affiliation, the only way they can exist is when people like us stay quiet. If the majority of the population thought like us, these companies wouldn't exist. So the removal of these corporations, commercials, movies, once that starts to drop, that's when we know we're having a real effect. Right now, these people are just going to continue to ignore us. Now I want to show y'all this because I mentioned it earlier. Okay, there it is. Let me see if her comment pops up. Of course it did. Man, I've been trying to get this lady to respond to me for a long time. She absolutely refuses, because she's the one who said this. She said, unless the dog is sick, all bites are provoked by something. Ilana Reisner. I'd love to press you on that. Boy, oh boy. Another expert lying, making things up. No reference, no nothing, just making things up. People who follow just the news alone, far more educated. You know, these people who say that the information is skewed that comes from the media, like I pointed out before, quite often, they'll come out with a image of the dog. They're never wrong. When they call it a pit bull, it's always a bully breed. I don't care about the technicality, what really is a pit bull or whatnot. It's always a bully breed. Always, always, always. So this idea that people mislabel pit bulls, that's one of the weakest arguments out there. So they're on the clock, most definitely. And once again, I've spent way too much time on here. I've missed some super chats, and I apologize. I've missed super chats. I apologize. Big shout out to whoever that was in the super chats. Yes. I got way more information than I have time to go over. So I'm going to end this here so I can space it out strategically and make sure I explain it thoroughly whenever I get around to it. Let's hope they open up their ears and minds. Let's hope we touch the humanity, if there's any left inside these people. And let's hope these mutants are exterminated very, very soon. Big shout out to everybody who's able to join me for this live stream. I should have been in bed by now, so I'm about to go to bed right now. And I cannot ever be up this late on a work night again. So good night, sweet dreams, and I hope to see you all on the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.